Madeleine Dunne's at the scene. And Maddie, what happened?
Well, John, the two vehicles collided here at the intersection of Oliver's Road and Coppermine Road shortly after 3 this afternoon. Now, the white Falcon appears to have T-boned the bronze-coloured Commodore, with the female passenger of that car taking the brunt of the force.
Madeleine Dunne joins us live from Elizabeth. And Maddie, what happened?
Well, Rosanna, if it wasn't for a quick-thinking tradie at a nearby worksite who saved a young boy from this burning home, this all could have ended in tragedy. Now, the blaze broke out here on Ridley Street just after 2 p.m. It started in a back room of the house and quickly spread.
7 News reporter Madeleine Dunne joins me. Maddie, experts say this heat wave could break records.
Good morning, Nat. That's right. Yes, authorities say we're looking at a day of horror as we brace for what could be our hottest day on record. Now, today, the forecast top is 40 degrees, but it's tomorrow that'll be the big one. 45 is the forecast, and if we go even a little hotter than that, we could smash 46.1 degrees. It'll be even hotter in regional centres. 47 is predicted for Port Augusta and Tarcoola and Roxby Downs, and it's not just the daytime temperatures that make a heat wave, it's the night time as well. And tonight it's unlikely we'll go below 28 degrees.
Made in Adelaide, this technology could be life-changing.
There are many couples that can only afford one round of IVF, and what this means is that they'll have the best possible chance of success.
Currently, doctors have to rely on the naked eye and a microscope to determine the healthiest embryo for IVF. But Life Whisperer uses artificial intelligence to compare images of new embryos with those that have previously led to successful pregnancies. This technology helps them to select which ones are transferred to a patient for the best possible chance of having a baby.
Have them drag and drop those images directly onto our web application. The AI runs in the cloud and it determines which of those embryos are more or less healthy than each other. That's 30% more accurate than the current manual visual assessment.
It's hoped a $1.5 million funding injection from the state government will assist local company Precigen's global expansion.
The company says the technology will be rolled out in Australian IVF clinics over the next few months, then throughout the US by the end of this year, before it's made available worldwide.
Madeleine Dunne, 7 News.
Wong and Fu Ni are in a race against time. 7 News reporter Madeleine Dunne is in Adelaide. Maddie, what is their Valentine's Day mission should they choose to accept it?
Good morning, Nat. Well, that mission is to convince the government to let them stay here in Australia and really let their romance blossom. So hopefully one day we can hear the pitter-patter of tiny panda paws. And honestly, how could anyone let them go? I've got Wang here behind me. He's having his morning bamboo breakfast. He's simply adorable. His partner Funi is tucked away in her den. I don't know how anyone could let them go, although they haven't had the easiest of relationships following their most recent breeding attempt. That was their 5th, and that was back in September. Funi was displaying a few signs of pregnancy in the past fortnight, but unfortunately the window has now passed for her to give birth. Now, we don't know whether it was a false pregnancy, which is quite common with giant pandas, or if it was a pseudo-pregnancy, which simply means, unfortunately, it was all in her head. She's now tucked away in her den. She's adopted a little soft toy as a cub of her own. But, you know, you do have to feel for these pandas. The pressure has been on for them to reproduce since all the way back in 2009 when they arrived. And now we're trying to reach an agreement with the government, the zoo and China to let them stay. That involves about $1.4 million of government funding going to conservation in China every year. So hopefully the government says yes, and we can let adorable Wang stay in Adelaide, have his daily breakfast here for all of us to enjoy.
Maddie, they've had 10 years.
It's a complex relationship.
Gee, it takes time.
It's complex.
Yeah.
But hang on, now the
they might not
Chinese
be
are
that
holding us to
compatible.
ransom. There are so many pandas in China, they've been taken off the endangered list.
They should be paying us to accommodate their pandas.
Tucked away on Park Terrace, the Salisbury RSL's a small hub fostering fierce community spirit, accompanied by a beer or two.
I love you, baby.
To me, it's a part of my life and a lot of the blokes that served in the forces.
but its future's in serious doubt. Although the club has almost 400 members, the vast majority aren't active and money's desperately tight.
You're lucky to get 3 or 4 people for lunch and probably 12, 20 people for dinner.
Club members say the Aussie tradition of visiting RSLs is dying off and fear that if they're forced to call last drinks, diggers who rely on the support network will suffer.
This is their lifeline to keeping everything normal.
It means a lot and I'd be ashamed to see it go.
Club members say a common misconception is that you need to have served in the Australian military to even enter an RSL, but that's simply not the case. They're encouraging anyone and everyone to come along for a drink, a meal, or even just to chat.
They don't talk about war, they talk about their lives now, and that's what the club's all about, offering mateship.
And a lifelong mateship at that, determined to keep their legacy alive. Madeleine Dunne, 7 News.
Madeleine, she's accused of attacking 2 other women.
That's right, Nat. Good morning. Yes, it was certainly a very confronting scene for horrified onlookers here on a busy Grenfell Street yesterday morning. It's alleged the altercation broke out between 3 women just before 10 a.m, resulting in 2 of them suffering serious stab wounds.
Yeah, get ready. Joining us now, 7 News reporter Samantha Brett in Sydney, Sunrise reporter David Woywood in Melbourne, and 7 News reporter Madeleine Dunne in Adelaide. Go, Maddie, you take the cake today. Adelaide is going to be so hot. How dangerous will conditions be?
Good morning, team. Yes, they're going to be very dangerous. In fact, we're actually preparing for our worst bushfire danger day so far this season, and we have total fire bans across much of South Australia. Mercury is set to soar well into the high 40s in parts of the state. Port Augusta's looking at 46, Port Pirie 45. Total fire ban in 10 districts. The Adelaide Hills is going to have an extreme fire danger warning, so residents there are being told to prepare for the worst and ensure their bushfire action plans are in place.
Grossly underweight with patchy beige fur and nasty red sores. This isn't how a wombat should look.
She has lost a lot of her hair, and that's actually due to emaciation. It's amazing that they're actually still alive, and we've just been watching them die in the thousands. It's just been awful.
These marsupials have been hit hard by the drought that's ravaging the Australian outback. Their main source of food, a native grass, has been all but wiped out.
These little animals have only had dirt to live off. Sometimes they've just been eating weeds and they've been toxic for them.
The Wombat Awareness Organisation at Flaxley in the Adelaide Hills has been rescuing and rehabilitating scores of the emaciated creatures, but now the food needed to make them better is in dangerously short supply.
Because their stomachs are quite damaged from having to eat dirt and eat toxic weeds, that they develop gastric ulcers, so therefore they need a specialised food. 2 of our suppliers have recently told us that because there's a hay shortage, there's no feed around, people are actually starting to buy that in bulk.
The sanctuary here in the Adelaide Hills is hoping to stockpile as many bags of the pellets as possible so that emaciated wombats like Apricot here don't miss out on the vital nutrients that are keeping them alive.
We've got 19 that are solely reliant on it, and we've got 83 wombats and all of them eat it.
But it's not cheap, and the organisation already spends more than $160,000 a year caring for the wombats.
Normally we pay $32 a bag and we buy 5 of those a week, but we can get it as a discount for $25.50 if we buy it in bulk, and that's really what we'd like to do. We'd like to stack up as much as we can now so that we can ensure that these babies have always got the right food.
For more information or to donate, head to our website.
We wrap in a blankie. No, 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 no.
Madeleine Dunne, 7 News.